Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Welcome
This place
indeed.
exists between
Let's
dream
do
and
Naoto's
reality.
story.
I
Very
sense
well.
a case in the making.
I don't even know how Naoto gets involved in this, so this will be an interesting one. Compared to all the other ones, which are kind of repeats, this one looks like it's going to be
What
completely
follows are my
independent.
impressions of the organization called the Shadow Operatives, as well as their leader, Mitsuru Kirijo.
Huh. Interesting. My fingers fly across the keyboard. My last case was special. I need to complete my report before I forget any important details. My name is Naoto Shirogane. I'm a detective. The Shirogane family has been working as detectives for generations. Though I'm young and still in high school, I have been given the opportunity to take on several cases and have built up experience as a detective. My work has earned me some trust, as every so often the police will come to me for my assistance. This is where the story begins. A sudden request from the Inaba Police Department. That was about a month ago, early April. Last summer, I had received a request from the prefectural police to come to the town of Inaba. A bizarre series of murders was occurring. A corpse would turn up every morning after a foggy night. In the end, it turned out to be the most difficult case of my career. It's been about 2 weeks since that case was closed. No, from the public's viewpoint, 4 months have passed since the crimes were stopped. The culprit has been arrested and prosecuted. Peace is returned, but to return, there is a depressing proposition. I'm not unwilling to help the police again, but my involvement with the previous case is not something I'd like to go through again. To be completely honest, that particular case was no simple series of murders. During the course of my investigation, I obtained a supernatural power known as my persona, making me even more than just a detective. I collaborated with other persona users and became directly involved with the events of the case. Of course, if I was to tell this to the police, it would be treated as nonsense. Worst case scenario, I would be discredited. Having to leave out those details while explaining the events of the case is more than a little nerve-wracking and feels like lying, but there you have it. While on my way to the police department for this new case, I go through a list of possible questions and answers I would need. Nice place with a Shark TV instead of a Sharp TV, because then they would have to pay royalties to Sharp. Which is interesting because Sharp has many deals with video game manufacturers, I believe, generally. Whatever. Something's different today, though. After greeting the receptionist, I'm not led to the usual dull meeting room. Instead, I'm taken to a reception area on the top floor. A leather-trimmed sofa, a curved wooden table, a nouveau riche setting.
Looks like this may take some time.
If this was just going to be paperwork and basic questioning, they wouldn't have brought me to this special room. Is it a new case? I have to wait several minutes before someone comes to speak with me. When the door finally opens, a man wearing a suit non-fitting the uniform of a local officer walks in.
I'm sorry about the wait.
He hands me his card.
Allow me to introduce myself.
His card has a lengthy title: National Police Agency, Security Bureau, Security Planning Division. I was shocked. They're more commonly known as the Public Safety Police. The Security Planning Division is the command center for the departments that handle terrorist threats, coup d'etat plots, and foreign affairs. These secret police also belong to this group. Why would a person of this importance come all the way to a rural locale like this? I look him in the eyes. He appears to be measuring me up.
I see you're enough on the ball that you don't need a lengthy introduction. Good.
Without any further talk, the man gets to his point.
Have you heard of the Kirijo group?
I doubt there are many who haven't.
I'll get right to the point. We'd like to hire you to perform a sub-rosa investigation on them.
You need a corporation quietly investigated. Why me? I don't see what I can do that your own department cannot.
I would agree if shadows and personas weren't involved.
This time, unable to hide my surprise. But the man continues, either failing to see or purposely ignoring my reaction.
One summer 12 years ago, there was an explosion at the Kirijo-owned Tatsumi Port Island, killing over 50 people. You would have been very young at the time.
I've reviewed that case. The official explanation was that a gas main leaked during a construction project.
Now we're getting the plots of Persona 4 and Persona 3 mixed in officially, without just, references. Now we're actually getting into it. It's probably the most exciting thing I've seen in this game so far.
Afterwards, though, a bizarre rumor saw quite a bit of circulation.
The mass media noticed that there was a suspiciously large number of researchers amongst the casualties. They floated the theory that the official explanation was a lie, and that the explosion was really caused by some dubious experiment.
No concrete evidence was ever found to support those claims, though. As I recall, the matter was left unsettled.
Until a bunch of students went and destroyed Nyx, you know, but no one knows about that. Hey, it's like you guys!
Some may still remember the incident, though I don't think many could recall the finer points.
Those rumors were all true.
His voice becomes firm.
What?
Those researchers under Koetsu Kirijo, the old Kirijo group manager, were working on harnessing the power of shadows. The experiment went awry, and they lost control of the shadows. That's what caused the explosion.
Experiments using shadows. They lost control? Are you saying the shadows flooded the city? The real world?
I can't speak to that. There was no way of getting hard answers back then. No one took the spooky stories seriously. But that accident got the government and the police's attention. Though they didn't launch an investigation until a year or two ago.
That couldn't be helped. Law can only preside over the world as we know it. Things that can't be explained can't be governed.
Only those in the Kirijo group know exactly what happened, and how much of the aftermath was dealt with.
The aftermath?
That word has a bad ring to it. It brings to mind a cover-up of some dark secrets.
Their cleanup efforts continued until quite recently. They were using some method known only to them, entirely behind our backs. We think they've been conducting illegal activities in the 10 years since then, while hiding behind their cleanup efforts.
And you wish for me to confirm this?
Not only do you have a relationship with us, you have a persona, and extensive experience in the field.
How do you know this?
We can't think of a better candidate.
And since I'm not directly affiliated with the police, if I were to be caught in a trap, it wouldn't lead back to you.
If that's the way you want to put it.
My reply was meant to be sarcastic, but this conversation is exceptionally draining. I must applaud public safety. They know everything about nobody they choose to investigate. But I read it wrong. They know everything about anybody they choose to investigate. That was my mistake. There's no point in trying to bargain with them. He continues explaining indifferently, as if able to sense my resignation.
Last year, in conjunction with the Kirijo group, we established an unofficial department in the force, nicknamed the Shadow Operatives. It's a special unit capable of dealing with shadow-related cases.
This is news to my ears. That's a rather bold move. You went so far as to join forces with the ones you suspect of illicit activities?
That's exactly why we did it. We must keep a leash on them by integrating them into the system.
But the police are far behind information-wise. Officially, you are higher on the chain of command, but less so in practice.
I try throwing out a theory as I begin to get a grasp of what's taking place. The man didn't so much as flinch, but he didn't give me much of an answer either.
You'd need some leverage to keep your hold on them. Thus, this secret investigation. What exactly do you want me to do?
That will depend on your answer.
So that's their gamble plan. I figured as much. An organization as big as the Kirijo group is hiding the secret about shadows. Now, should I take the job or not? As a person with persona abilities, I'm naturally interested in learning how much is known about the shadows. And this job could potentially give me leverage over the government in the future. While I'm deep in thought, the man continues as if he can read my mind.
If you think we're hiring you to further our organization, you're mistaken.
I can't help but look up at the obvious change in his tone.
Our sources say it's possible that they've been talking students from the Kirijo-owned school into doing their dirty work. They've been pleading ignorance while making ordinary kids clean up whatever messes they've left. And that, we don't forgive. We're supposed to be upholding the law. We can't overlook things like this.
He's surprisingly sincere. He's staring right at me. Unlike up until now, his eyes are strong and bold. He truly doesn't want anyone innocent to suffer. Of course, this could be an act to convince me, but even then, I do agree with that opinion. All that remains is to find out Kirijo's intentions.
Alright, in that case, I accept. Though I don't plan on abandoning my school life here. I'll do what I can to help, but only within those limits.
I would never have dictated conditions like this before, but the reason I had to come to this town and transfer to Yasugari High School was all for my investigation. But the school life and the dear friends that I've gained have become irreplaceable to me. It may sound childish to demand that I stay with my friends, but if they refuse to budge in that regard, that's that. However,
that's fine with us.
He accepts my conditions, almost too easily. He then immediately begins to explain the details of the case.
At the end of this month, the Kirijo group is airlifting some special cargo. Kirijo has asked our help in making sure the cargo is transported safely. We'd like you to accompany them as a police observer.
What do they mean, transported safely?
A police escort, assurance of no public investigation if any unforeseen situation were to arise. Things like that. Of course, if anything does happen, we will hold them responsible.
I wonder if that cargo happens to be Aegis.
And what is this special cargo?
It's something to do with the shadow research. They've admitted that much, but we don't know the exact details.
I mean, I'm assuming it's not Labrys. I'm assuming Labrys escaped. This is what's happening right now.
According to our research, it's most likely something from the old ergonomics research laboratory, classified as risk level 4. In other words, even though it's sealed up tight, it's extremely dangerous.
They even have a risk scale for something like this. It seems that Kirijo's research goes into a variety of different things.
Also,
as I'm thinking, the man slides a photograph to me. It's a beautiful young lady. Her eyes show a strong will, as striking as her blazing red hair. Her hair reminds me of something. I may have seen her picture while going through the documents reading regarding the Port Island incident. Of course, the girl in those pictures was much younger.
this woman will be on that flight. Her name is Mitsuru Kirijo.
Kirijo.
She's the oldest daughter of the Kirijo family, Koetsu Kirijo's granddaughter. It was he who devised the experiments 12 years ago. You should know that she's also a powerful Persona user.
Persona user besides us? I was suspecting something like this, but to hear it out loud is still shocking. So there are Persona users other than those of us involved in the case last year.
We believe she took the lead in gathering students 3 years ago, when she was still in high school. We'd like you to first go to her residence and meet with her.
All right.
I'm sure you figured out by now, since she's a high-ranking Kirijo group official and a Persona user, but she's a shadow operative. She's member number 1, the general manager. And not because she's a Kirijo, but because she has the abilities to back it up. Can you do this? If she's dirty, then this won't be easy for you.
Ooh, she might be dirty. That's an odd phrasing.
I already accepted your assignment, so I must simply make the best of it.
I offer my hand. He has the firm grip of someone who's worked on the front lines of the law. This is going to be mostly story, I bet, but I accept because it's just a bit more interesting than the others. A few days later, I received a message informing me that the transport is to be on the 1st of May. It's on a school day, but since I've taken the job, there's nothing I can do about it. In fact, I should be glad that this didn't overlap with the extended holiday. I haven't heard the details, but I expect to have some important arrangements during Golden Week. Arrangements to reunite with my upperclassman, Yuno Narukami, who was the leader of our group during last year's incident. I keep thinking about our reunion. It's only been 2 weeks since he left, but it feels much longer. I suppose that goes to show how much I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going off track. I need to think about my new job, so I hastily put myself together. How does she... I mean, I guess she follows Mitsuru in, but who is she gonna fight? Assuming she's gonna fight, obviously. May 1st. The cargo is due to be transported from the laboratory near the Kirijo mansion. I make my way to the mansion to present myself and end up accompanying the security detail. So basically, when we went through it with the original 4, actually I don't really know how Kanji figures into this either, and what's going to happen with Teddy as well, is basically now Naoto's story is going to interlap with the Persona 3 people, probably. She's probably mostly going to fight them, I would think. Because she never met the other crew at all. Maybe Kanji and maybe Teddy she would fight, but I have my doubts about Teddy. Mostly Kanji I could see her fighting, because Kanji had a thing for her. Limousine is incredibly long. Apparently, it isn't all that rare for the upper class in other countries to ride in cars this large, but it's downright comical on the tiny roads of Japan. What the hell are you even talking about? It isn't all that rare for the upper class in other countries to ride... I guess they have some weird idea about foreign countries. Yeah, maybe if you're super, super rich, but... no one's that fancy anywhere else. I never got to ride in a limo for school, but I was in the public school. I don't know what I'm going on about anyways. That was where I met Mitsuru Kirijo in person.
Nice to meet you. My name is Naoto Shirogane. I'll be acting as an observer today.
I've been told about you. It's nice meeting you as well. I'm Mitsuru Kirijo.
Well, they kept the voice actress. That's nice. Her beauty is enough to attract anyone's attention. She was so much less imposing than in the picture.
I didn't expect the police's observer to be so young.
Does that bother you?
No. I didn't mean to downplay your abilities. Forgive me.
I took a look at Kirijo-san's face. She's the only daughter of the founding family, but it's been 2 years since she renounced the practice of the Kirijo group being run by the family. In other words, she's simply the CEO's daughter now, not the heir to the company. She must be used to constant stress being a female leader at such a young age. Getting people to acknowledge her must have been a struggle. I don't need to mince my words in dealing with types like her. I decide to cut to the chase.
Tell me, what are the contents of your cargo?
I'm ashamed to have to admit this, but since the original researchers have passed away, we don't know what's in it either. We can't allow the worst-case scenario for such an item to come to pass in the middle of a city. That's why we plan to transfer these items to a distant facility according to their indicated risk level.
A natural decision. Her posture, her actions, if that was all an act, I must commend her for her ability to deal with the unexpected. Personally, my impression is that she's a trustworthy person. Before leaving, I leave a chance to see the Kirijo mansion. I have to say that it's surprisingly simple. It wasn't just empty luxury, but something rather more rational. I feel that it shows what kind of person she is. At any rate, her intelligence and presence are proof enough of her upbringing. If she was hiding something, it would be hard to figure that out.
Then I'll stay near the cargo along with the police escort. I'll contact you immediately if anything happens.
All right. If anything is unclear to you, feel free to ask me.
Her eyes look straight at me, and I feel like she could see through everything. I end our conversation shortly after and quietly wait for us to arrive. Alright, we got a bookmark here, surprisingly enough, but we're not even close to the normal stuff. I will say, this story is actually different than, at least it's taken me for a wild ride, Japan Air Network. A limousine, transport truck, and multiple security cars to reach the airport without any incident. The cargo may be dangerous, but according to the records, it was kept safely in storage for the past 10 years. So it is Labris they're transporting. Plus, it is worthless to the average person. Because of this, the people involved in the security don't look tense. Kirijo-san hands her servant her travel bag. It's almost as if she's simply going on vacation.
Yakushima.
The plane's destination is to one of the southern islands. I'm sure it'd be fun to go with everyone. I realized what I'm thinking and have to laugh at myself. Again, I can say Yakushima, we've been there as the old Persona 3 group. That's where we found Aigis. That's where the Kirijo mansion is, or there's some getaway place for them. A year ago, I never would have considered that it would be fun to spend time with others. But I can't help but think that way now. Soon they'll begin moving the cargo out of the truck. I clear my mind of daydreams and look back to the truck. They pass through the gate for large cargo shipments. The shipment is in imposing metal cases, but among all other shipping containers, it doesn't attract much attention from airport staff. Labris. It is Labris. It's not long before the final case is unloaded from the trunk. The truck, not the tunk. It's obviously different from the rest. It's covered in what seems to be heavy industrial-grade steel. It's about 1 meter wide and broad, and 2.5 meters tall. It looks like something very special is in there, but even if someone was targeting the shipment, it would be impossible to steal that. 4 men in suits slowly tip the case sideways to place it in the cart. Seeing it on its side reminds me of something. It looks like a coffin. The moment I realize that, a shiver runs down my spine. It does look big enough to have room for a person to lie down in. Could there really be a person inside it? Could it be that this tight security is not to prevent theft, but to keep the cargo from escaping? No. How can I imagine things like this without any proof? I shake my head to clear it of these pointless thoughts. Am I just shaken because I heard this has something to do with shadows? Eventually, the check-in process is complete and the announcement to begin boarding echoes through the airport. I relax a little, relieved that nothing has happened up to this point. Once the plane takes off, the only thing in our way is the sky. I had put on an earpiece tuned to the police radar to keep up with the current situation. I know, that plane's really flying, isn't it? Unless I misinterpreted it. So far, nothing was out of the ordinary. Kirijo-san's group finished checking in and had boarded the plane. The cargo should be loaded soon. After I supervise that, I'll check in and... just as I think that, an urgent voice jumps into the band.
The aircraft squawk code has changed to 7500.
7500.
I have trouble mentally shifting gears after the long period of inactivity. I never imagined I would hear that number with my own ears.
7500? A hijacking?
Is the plane I'm investigating being hijacked? Oh, it hasn't even left. I'm confused about... Whatever. That can't be a coincidence. But could this have been set up by the police or the Kirijo group? No, there's no benefit for either of them to get involved with the general public. If that's the case...
Is it the cargo they want?
There really is someone after the cargo. Wait, if they're after the cargo, why hijack the plane? If they're not trying to steal the cargo, could they be after Kirijo-san? No, that doesn't feel right. Hijacking isn't an efficient method to carry out a kidnapping, or an assassination. Well, unless you crash the plane. If they have the time and the resolve to pull this off, they would be far better off trying to take over the plane in mid-flight. I can't figure out their objective. Why would they do something that attracts so much attention? Attention? This is a very peculiar time to attempt a takeover of the plane. Very peculiar indeed. Hijacking before departure forfeits the biggest benefits of hijacking. But at the same time, all normal airport operations will come to a halt while everyone turns their focus on the plane in question. The airport will naturally stop loading baggage onto the plane while this hijacking goes on. It's the perfect distraction. So they are after the cargo.
If that was the case, the hijacking is only a decoy. But would they really risk their lives hijacking a plane over one piece of cargo?
As I think, I scan the air from my viewpoint up to the boarding area. I see a van that had been parked near the cargo area suddenly peel out.
Huh?
A suspicious departure at this time? I have a bad feeling about this. But the cargo was just unloaded right in front of my eyes. I didn't see anyone steal it. Hold on. 4 men in suits with the hand cart. I don't see them. I'd lost track of them in the rush of activity after the hijack call. I grind my teeth and interrupt the radio call.
This is 002, over. A suspicious vehicle is leaving the scene. Stay in pursuit. It's a large vehicle, about 2 tons. License plate?
So the hijacking was a ruse to get the cargo into the van. I hear someone confirm with Roger, but there's shouting and confusion going on in the background. I'm unsure if my intentions had been understood. I run across the airport by myself. I need to grab a hold of these people's tail, even if only to get a few hairs. Of course, there's no way I can catch a vehicle on a foot, but I have a plan. I run down the escalator and bolt for the passenger pickup area at the arrivals lobby. I looked around outside and there it is, just as I thought. The suspicious vehicle was coming this way. The airport's road layout is a loop. After leaving the departure lobby, cars must take a turn and curve back around to the arrival lobby before being able to reach the surface streets. I hide in the crowd and wait for the van to get close. And as it passes by, I throw a small sticky lump at the van. Luckily for me, it strikes and sticks low on the van's side. There's a compact transmitter in there. You'd have to be pretty close to pick up the signal, but it's better than nothing. I take my hat off and wipe my forehead. The pedestrians around me begin to stir. Everyone stops and stares at their smartphones. I didn't need to look, I knew. The first news of the hijacking is hitting the media. I put my hat back on and pulled the brim low. I'll have to be careful not to let all the information flying around confuse me. I keep my guard up as I quickly walk back to the departure lobby. Exciting, I wish I could see it. Another 45 minutes pass without any more clear information coming through. There's chaos on the radio, and people are in a panic. After an hour, the confusion suddenly stops and a shocking report comes in over the radio.
All personnel on scene. The suspects have been apprehended. The hijacking is over. I repeat.
They dealt with it so soon?
Though some passengers were ill, there were no casualties. As far as I know, the hijackers didn't even make any demands. It's hard to think that the police could have negotiated with them. But on the other hand, there's no indication that the special assault team had stormed the plane. Did the group surrender now that their decoy objective was complete?
What's going on here?
Just then, a rail call came in directly for me.
Operator to 002, over. The hijacking has been dealt with, but the transfer must be canceled. The whereabouts of one piece of cargo cannot be confirmed. All indications are that it has been stolen.
Then that vehicle earlier. Are you still in pursuit?
We're tracking it through the N system. Head to the guest room immediately so we can discuss our response.
It looks like my call to report that suspicious van had not been a mistake.
Understood.
Who's stealing Labrys? Soon after, the involved parties were gathered in the VIP room. Kirijo-san and the police are talking hurriedly, but because there's a lot of confidential information being discussed, it was only expected that there would be some difficulties in communicating. At any rate, the van on the run can be tracked through the N system. The hijackers were handed over to the airport police, while those of us who knew the truth about the cargo were moved to one of her buildings.
That was a very tidy operation. I had thought it would take at least half a day.
To put it delicately, we had someone with special abilities handling this. Then again, though we prevented any harm from coming to the hostages, we lost the cargo.
Nothing for it, I suppose. Who would have expected an entire hijacking to cover up the theft of some cargo? I must apologize to you as well. I was the closest at hand when it happened.
No, you did more than enough. It's thanks to your sharp eyes that we're able to track the suspicious vehicle now. I'm impressed that you realized in all the chaos that the cargo was the true target. You even spotted their getaway truck.
Thank you. Our next step should be to interrogate the suspects in custody, and...
Sadly, it won't be that simple. I haven't heard much yet, but it seems they're having unexpected difficulties with the interrogation. It will take some time.
If they were prepared to risk their lives for this operation, I suppose they won't break so easily.
We made an error in judgment. We were too focused on preventing the item itself from doing any damage.
But since they targeted something so unusual, that should narrow down the suspect pool.
I can't deny it's possible that someone connected to the Kirijo group is behind this.
It's the ghost of the chairman. He's back for vengeance.
Thank you for your assistance, Shirogane. I'm sorry to have involved you in this mess, but the professionals will take it from here.
The ghost of the chairman and Adachi are planning something. Professionals. In other words, she plans to investigate this herself as a shadow operative.
Does that mean my work here is done?
I'm afraid so. We do value your cooperation.
This is a bit of a pickle. The Kirijo group and the police want to keep this under wraps. That is, they cannot open a public investigation. On top of that, the shadow operatives are, technically, an organization working for the police. Technically, there's no room for freelancers here. Therefore, by my reasoning, there's no need for me to be involved in the investigation any further. Refusing to back down, however, would only draw attention. With no other choice, I decided to take my leave. Probably the longest story, though. Well, the longest setup. It must have been chaos at the office. Despite the unusual events, the man who hired me has not yet gotten in touch with me. I entertained the thought of returning home to Inaba, but luckily enough, I brought enough luggage for a short trip out of town. I decided to stay the night at a business hotel near the airport and wait a while for my client to contact me. Time passes. At 9 o'clock, I finally receive a phone call from the man.
Things have taken an unexpected turn. This case is under the jurisdiction of the shadow operatives now.
That will make it very difficult to continue my secret investigation.
But right now, you're the only one we have who's gotten that close. We heard you earned Kirijo's trust after the hijacking. We'd like you to keep up your investigation. We're currently making arrangements for you to pick it up again in a natural way.
What are you gonna have me do? I will not act as a spy.
I'll be in touch later.
He hangs up without waiting for my reply. I sigh. Yeah, I know. I feel a weight in my heart. This has a high possibility of turning into a private investigation from the shadows. Pretty much a polite way of saying corporate espionage. If I'm to take on this job, I need to have some sort of plan. At any rate, I cannot plan my movements without knowing how the situation is progressing. It would be far better to prepare for tomorrow instead of getting... Oh, man. Because I put my controller down a little bit and I hit the front trigger button. It would be far better for me to prepare for tomorrow instead of getting worked up with worry. I read the newspaper and watched some of the TV coverage of today's events, then go to bed early. Do you get to see the Midnight Channel at least, though? A day passes, and even by the night of May 2nd, the man has not contacted me again. It seems the police are having trouble zeroing in on the suspicious vehicle. Considering the skill with which the crime was pulled off, I wouldn't be surprised if that van was dumped somewhere in the cargo loaded into another vehicle. Going through all the possibilities is just a way to kill time. Oh yeah, she's not in Inaba, so she can't watch it. But that was the only thing I had to do. Nothing happened until the sky began to darken as the sun went down. My phone finally rang. But surprisingly, the name on the screen brought a smile to my face.
Yes, Shirogane speaking.
Hi, Naoto-kun? Oh, I'm not interrupting your work, am I?
No, it's quite alright.
Sorry to call so late. I wanted to at least give it one more shot about tomorrow.
That's right. So much has been happening that I completely forgot that school holidays start tomorrow. And of course, we're supposed to have our reunion with Yu-senpai when he visits from the city tomorrow. I was supposed to be able to meet up with them. I didn't imagine that I'd be stuck here for 3 days thanks to the attempted hijacking at the airport. But since I've undertaken the job, I have obligations that I can't just abandon. I'm starting to actually feel some anger towards whoever the culprits are.
I'm sorry, but it seems I still won't be able to make it. I'm actually not in Inaba at the moment, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. Oh, then I guess you can't check even if it rains.
Even if it rains?
Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself.
Oh, that's not suspicious at all. In fact, that's not even the same conversation you had last time. What was that?
It's okay, Naoto-kun. I know there are people who'll be in trouble without you. You need to stay there and help them out.
Yes, well...
Help them out, huh? It irritates me to know that what I'm going to do is pretty much spy work.
It really is a shame. Give my regards to Senpai and the others, won't you?
Will do. Good luck with the job.
I hang up the phone. Seeing my dear senpai again. I feel that's much more important than a job with an uncertain outcome. I feel a little sad that I'm going to miss it. My dear senpai. I don't know. Well, at the ending, she did seem to kind of, she did want to leave with you, but maybe that's reading too much into it. Maybe I should just turn the case down and make a surprise visit tomorrow.
I wonder if any train would make it in time.
Japan's a small country, but it looks like the case is not about to let me leave. Just after my talk with Chie-san, I was preparing for bed. The public safety official called me again.
It seems we may be back on for the secret investigation. Mitsuru Kirijo just requested our cooperation. We agreed. A detective by the name of Kurosawa will be heading out tomorrow. We want you to accompany him to the rendezvous point.
But he's just a small-time cop for Inaba, even though he knows about the damn things. Why would he get involved in all this? And I didn't think it was a detective. Are we talking about the same Kurosawa who ran the weapons shop at the police station in Persona 3? When I asked about this Kurosawa fellow, I received an unanticipated answer. Apparently, he had helped Kirijo-san's activities on his own while he was a constable. Oh, so he's got a promotion. Even though his superiors didn't understand what Kirijo-san was up to, he followed his own instincts and helped her to protect his town. Normally, he would be punished for this, but the situation took a 180-degree turn thanks to the establishment of the Shadow Operatives. His knowledge has been invaluable, and rather than being disciplined, he has been promoted to plainclothes detective.
Kurosawa is willing to leak you whatever info he learns about the Kirijo group through his cooperation with them.
So now he's backstabbing the Kirijos, but not Mitsuru, because Mitsuru is no longer the leader, she's just CEO by name, or, politics, or not politics, corporate bullcrap.
I'm surprised he agreed to that. Hasn't he assisted Kirijo-san and her group in the past?
I'm afraid that's something you'll have to ask him about, although he seems to have his own agenda.
I confirmed several other details before ending the call. Detective Kurosawa. If he's working with the Kirijo group, it could be something of a problem. But if they have information to leak, that means they must have located the vehicle in question. Still, considering how long it took them to find it, I may be in for a long trip. Where am I going to be sent now? I shrugged to myself. The next day, May 3rd, 33 minutes and no playing, but I mean the story's at least interesting. I meet with Detective Kurosawa. I expected someone who looked shadier, but the man appeared hardworking and honest.
I'm Kurosawa.
I'm Naoto Shiragane. Thank you for your assistance.
I've heard rumors about you, Ace Detective. Let's get going.
We make our greens brief and get into Detective Kurosawa's car. A private investigation in a location that I have no prior knowledge or experience of. This was a depressing job in the first place, and the addition of more and more unknown variables is only making me more displeased with it.
You seem pretty listless.
Oh no, I'm fine. Where are we headed, by the way?
They look alike. Are you sure you're not related?
The place where they found the getaway car from the hijacking. A town called Inaba. It's a small place with an odd history. They just had a bizarre serial murder case there last year.
Huzzah, Naoto! You're heading home!
Inaba?
I can't stop the surprise from showing in my voice.
That's your hometown, right? Isn't that why they're sending you?
I'm at a loss for words, but Detective Kurosawa continues instead of waiting for me to reply.
The request I got from the Shadow Operatives was to assist in gathering information about those murders. They want me to meet with a supervising detective of that case and ask him for the full story.
Oh, so Dojima.
Not only are they part of public safety, they're an unofficial unit. They can't come to the district police for information.
Why him? Is his case related to the robbery in some way?
Public safety is sharper than you might think. They do basic reviews on all cases to see if shadows were involved. Inaba is on their watch list now. And with that cargo being brought there, they naturally suspect a connection between the cases.
If there is a connection, then it might be related to our case. I begin to have ominous thoughts, and my expression darkens. But Detective Kurosawa doesn't probe into that topic. Perhaps he's the type of person who doesn't judge people based on evidence, but gets a feel for them through conversation and actions. How am I reflected in his eyes? I can't help but wonder. TVs everywhere! And fridges. Detective Kurosawa goes inside the Inaba police station while I wait in the car near the junkyard. I could ask why, but I won't. It's no point. The familiar sights of Inaba seem strange somehow. The detective in charge of this case must be none other than Dojima-san. Detective Ryotaro Dojima. Of course I am familiar with him. And not just as a fellow peace officer. Dojima-san acted as Yu-senpai's guardian while he stayed in Inaba. I feel like I'm betraying him as well. I can't stop myself from sighing again. Soon enough, Detective Kurosawa steps out of the station. I thought he was coming back. But halfway to the car, he turns and walks into the junkyard. I wonder what he's doing. I stick my head out of the window and try to track him. There's another car parked behind a pile of junk. That distinctive grill style. That's Kirijo-san's limousine. I hurriedly pull my head back into the car. That's right, Detective Kurosawa came here to cooperate with Kirijo-san. But still, to bring me along and park so close to her is... Then again, it's very unnatural to park far from a rendezvous point. Detective Kurosawa made the right decision. I calm down and slide into the rear seat, keeping my head low. Still, Kirijo-san uses that black limousine while undertaking her shadow operative's duties as well. That car sticks out like a sore thumb here in Inaba. Heck, it's distinctive anywhere in Japan. Why would someone as clever as Kirijo-san take that car on a special mission like this? Does she have some profound reasoning behind it? After a while, Detective Kurosawa finally comes back to the car.
Kurosawa-san, may I ask you something? Why are you working with public safety?
You're asking that now? I thought that would be your very first question.
He looks very different from what I remember him, but that could be because it's been years and he's not wearing his cop uniform. After wiping his dry smile from his face, Detective Kurosawa turns to me with an incredibly serious expression.
You can spy on Mitsuru Kirijo and her shadow operatives to your heart's content and never find anything suspicious. But for that to be understood, at some point or another, everything she does has to be investigated to eliminate those doubts. In which case, it's better someone like you do the investigating than someone official who will never understand. That's all there is to it.
So he does have his reasons after all.
Thank you for your cooperation.
I'll leave the rest in your hands.
I exit the vehicle, and Kurosawa-san takes his car onto the highway and speeds out of sight. He has no doubts whatsoever regarding Kirijo-san's activities. To be honest, I'm inclined to agree with him, but I can't jump to conclusions without any evidence. I use heap of junk as cover to sneak close to the limousine and watch. Not long after, I see two people exit the vehicle. One of them is Kirijo-san. However, unlike when I saw her at the airport, she's wearing equipment likely suited for combat. The other person looks strange.
Is that the fabled humanoid weapon?
There was information about a humanoid weapon mixed in with all the data I had about the Kirijo group. When I first saw it, I was confused. But that had to be what was standing in front of me. It seems natural, almost lifelike, but there's no denying that it's an artificial construct. It seems that the rumors of an unorthodox anti-shadow unit were true. Another man comes to join them soon. Akihiko. He too was dressed in outlandish attire. He was shirtless and wore a red cloak like a desert nomad. He's the perfect example of someone who ought to be detained for questioning. I compare his face to the list of pictures on the people involved with the situation. While his taste in clothing has changed, I believe that this man is Akihiko Sanada. I can't imagine what would possess him to go about dressed like that, but I speculate about their actions. What business do they have here in a junkyard? There's nothing here but a pile of broken household electronics and abandoned televisions. Then it hits me. Detective Kurosawa had told Kirijo-san about last year's incident. And of course, she has prior knowledge of persona and shadows. Then, no doubt, she's heard of the idea of entering the TV world. After all, it appears many times in the testimony of the killer from last year. Dojima-san may have disregarded it for being too far-fetched, but Detective Kurosawa must have caught on. I take a closer look. There's a mountain of old television sets. Victims of last year's switch to digital broadcast. Victims of last year's switch to digital broadcast.
They're not planning to enter a TV from here, are they?
Even as I say that, the mechanical girl already has her hand sticking into a TV screen. It's exactly as I thought. The mere fact that they are testing what they heard so recently cannot bode well. Uncertainty crosses my mind. The three of them are clearly preparing to enter the television. Should I blow my cover and warn them about what they're doing? If they entered, they may not be able to leave. But the other world should no longer be dangerous anymore. And I heard from Yosuke-senpai that he'd asked Teddy to leave the exit TV out just in case. If they're Persona users, they should be able to handle the shadows. They shouldn't be in any peril, but... However, Kirijo-san made the decision faster than I could. Is this a new cutscene? It's so exciting!
The other members will wait here in the car.
Yeah. If we all barge in and something happens, we'll be devastated.
Now that you mention it, at least one of us should be staying behind as well.
I am not staying.
Us three will be plenty. We'll end this in a flash. No problem.
The same as always. Although, we have no idea what might be waiting for us on the other side. Don't get careless.
Right.
It's the same thing as Tartarus.
This situation, it brings back memories.
Ready!
I mean, really, the TV and Tartarus are the same damn thing. Well, gameplay design-wise, I mean, there are differences in a sense. There's Naoto.
Why enter the TV? What's going on?
Simply put, Labrys. Why was a bookmark placed so far back when there's no action? I stand there blankly.
Is the stolen cargo inside the TV?
Should I chase after them? If I turn back here, we may never be able to find the three of them again. And if that happens, the truth about the case will be lost forever. If her property was placed into the TV world, it means that whoever stole it knows the truth about last year's events. If that's the case, then I can't ignore this, no matter what my assigned task is. Plus...
Well, if they're determined to enter the TV despite not knowing the risks, I can hardly allow cowardice to prevent me from following.
Are you gonna go through Junes or here? I realize that the straw breaking the camel's back is not logic, but my pride and I smiled to myself. But my mind was made up. I stand up, look around, then step inside the same television they used. Yeah, your logic really broke there. Granted, entering through the other TV wouldn't have helped anyway. Are you gonna go through the different thing? Apparently not. Alright. Even though... not much... Really, it's just a way for me to pass a story in case something goes wrong. Is Naoto gonna fight someone now? Who would Naoto fight? A lot of questions lingering. I don't have any answers. It's been a while since I felt this falling sensation. But this time, the sensation seems to continue longer than it did when I would enter TV as part of the investigation team. Before I know it, the falling has ended. I take cover behind a pillar and look around for the three shadow operatives. Did I lose them? We all entered from the same television, so we should have arrived at the same place. I relax a little and take a look around. When I stand up, I notice it, but it's difficult to believe. I take a good, hard look. This is a school. And not only that, but...
Yasogami High School? What's going on?
This is the gate to the school I attend. The familiar school building is inside. But there's something unfamiliar out in front. There's a stack of strange monitors. They're all displaying the words P1 Grand Prix. This place looks like the real world, but there's something warped about it. It feels like the world is dangerous again, like it was while we were investigating the incident. but this world has returned to the way it was before. While I'm thinking this, students come walking out of the building. They gather together and soon the air is filled with people.
Impossible. How could there be this many people in the TV world?
Suddenly the students surround me and start cheering. I see an all too familiar burst of static play across the monitors.
Rivals.
Well, we've seen this. I don't know why it's showing it to her inside.
What?
Killjoy Detective? The shock leaves me dumbfounded for a while. Plus, you senpai, Sister Complex Kingpin. Well, it's true that... No, calm down, Naoto. Calm down and analyze the situation. This otherworldly program where real people's foibles are exaggerated to unworldly proportions. The stack before the video made it very clear. This broadcast can only mean the Midnight Channel. And what was this fighting tournament about? The members of the investigation team are the combatants?
It seemed that Teddy was acting as the host for this.
All of us know that Senpai is coming back to Inaba during Golden Week. Then could this be some kind of way to welcome him back? No. Calling him a Sister Complex Kingpin. That's not a welcome, that's a challenge. Who would publicize a negative nickname like that? Besides, whatever the reason, I can't imagine that someone would seriously want us all to fight each other. What is going on? Does it mean that the rest of them are in the TV world as well? Without warning, the sound of microphone feedback pierces my ears.
Hello, boys and girls of Yasogami. Sorry for the wait.
That voice. That's Rise-san.
The students go wild. One of the monitors, Teddy appears to be wearing some sort of costume.
I'm proud to announce the commencement of our very own P1 Grand Prix!
It looks like Rise-san and Teddy are the ones running this. Do they really plan on holding this P1 Grand Prix?
And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the challenger in our first battle.
If that promotional video is correct, then are the members of the investigation team going to show up? Just as I lean forward to see what's going on, a spotlight shines directly onto my face, blinding me.
Naoto Shirogane!
What?
The students around me raise their fists to the air and shout. This is a pickle. It seems that I won't be able to chase Kirijo-san down at this rate. First the plane hijacking, and now another unforeseen interruption.
Come on down now, Chan!
Teddy, what is the meaning of this?
Didn't you watch the intro video? It's a fighting tournament!
I gathered as much, but I was asking why you would do such a thing. Pitting friend against friend in battle is going too far for a joke.
It's not a joke, though. I'm giving this 100%, just like I always do. Now get out there now, Chan. Show me everything you've got.
You're not making any sense. Besides, there's...
While I'm speaking, I see the area in front of me twist. That's a new one. I close my eyes at once. When I open them, I see that only certain things around me have been warped by whatever that was. The scene on the monitors, the students around me. I blink and rub my eyes, but I soon realize that my eyes aren't playing tricks on me.
What the... Are these students an illusion someone is creating?
With their skin missing, the students have become dark shapes that only resemble a human form. Are these shadows of some sort? Well, I do find it hard to believe that so many people could have wandered into the TV world. Even if this many people did get in here, the town would be in an uproar over the mass disappearance of so many students. And why the music suddenly gets so much louder? It wasn't that loud before. It makes more sense for them to be shadows, but if that's the case, why did I see them as students? Could it be? Teddy and Rise do both have the power to interfere with other people's thoughts to a certain extent. It may be possible for them to be projecting illusions into my mind, but that would prove that the two of them really are the hosts of this show. I decided not to jump to any conclusions for now. Even if the two of them are behind this, why would they hold a tournament and deceive me with illusions? I won't be able to figure out anything until I determine what their objective is. As I'm considering my next course of action, Teddy, or should I say, General Teddy, speaks directly to me.
What are you all pitching for now, John? To powder your nose?
Yeah, the voices are lower than the music. I'm wondering if that's from that weird thing that happened before.
No!
Yeah, I can't hear them very well. Holy crap. I can't even change it here, can I? I can't. We're gonna have to deal with this.
Anyway, if this is not a joke, can I assume you won't easily let me go?
Bingo! You have to win the fight if you want to move on. Only the one who makes it to the very end is set free.
This is getting me nowhere. Talking to him isn't helping me figure out what's going on here.
Well then, let's get this started. Bring out the first opponent!
Another spotlight appears across from me. A person steps out from the darkness. It's
been a while, Naoto.
there we go. Everything's back to normal now.
Senpai? Why are you here?
I promised I'd come back during Golden Week. Don't tell me you forgot.
No. Of course I remembered. It's just, I didn't expect to see you here.
I could say the same thing. I heard you couldn't make it because of your job.
Oh, that's gonna be the main point. Her job's most important to her, so she doesn't care about everyone else.
Yes. Actually, I'm here on matters related to my work. It came as a surprise to me as well.
Huh. Looks like you're as uninterested in socializing as always.
Huh? What did he just say?
Everyone says that though they think of you as a friend, they never get the same vibe from you.
That's not true. I just happen to be busy with a case. But really, now's not...
Work, work, work. I guess work's all you care about in the end. Even now. I'd say you're more concerned with your work than us. I get it. Hanging out with people outside work is a burden for you. It's like an invasion of your privacy.
Senpai?
He's not the type of person to speak so poorly of others, is he? Well, in the game, he never was able to speak anyway. Is this an illusion too?
Relax. I'll help get you knocked out of the tournament so you can get back to the work you love so much.
He summoned his persona.
What? Are you serious?
Senpai attacked me with his persona. That wasn't an illusion. It was real. If he hit me, I would have been seriously hurt. But now I know something. He's clearly not in his right mind right now. The leader of the investigation team I knew would never, under any circumstances, harm his friends.
What a reunion this is turning into. If I must fight you, I will.
Well, I'm going to at least battle so I can get one in during this part. But, then I'll end it after the battle and we'll continue after that, I guess. We'll continue the story in the next part, because this ran on for a long time, actually. Naoto Shirogane versus Yu Narukami! Born in 1995. Actually, we don't know when Yu was born. Maybe he doesn't exist. That's the conspiracy I'm coming up with. Yu Narukami does not exist. Okay, Naoto! Well, she did that. But the problem was she was staying in position for much longer. Alright, to do with that. Then she hand chops with... Ugh, she broke my persona a little bit. Alright, let's see what this gun blast and I like silence him or something. I just shot down his legs. Damn, I'm out of ammo. Okay, now it's a bit hard to fight with, I think. Okay, I'm like stuck in position or something. This is a bit hard to fight with. Oh, what the hell? I'm taking a beating now. There we go. Let's just try and get this over with. There's a big problem with Naoto in that I can't really run with her right now. Because she takes her gun out, I think, and it makes you stand still. Yeah, Naoto's going to be a hard one to fight with. Anyways, I'm going to place this bookmark, and I'm going to end this part, even though not much really happened. And next part, we'll continue on, even though we're already at scene 4. It usually doesn't happen that late, but this is a different story, and it's a little bit interesting. Anyway, see you next time.